This afternoon, former President Donald Trump announcing he will not testify in his own defense in his New York civil fraud case. It's an 11th hour reversal as Trump was expected back on the stand tomorrow. The case centers around allegations that Trump falsified business records, an accusation that could lead to Trump losing the ability to conduct his business in New York. The judge overseeing the no jury trial has already ruled that Trump committed years of fraud by inflating his wealth and assets, which has narrowed the scope of the trial. The trial is just one, though, of several Trump is expected to face before the 2024 election. And joining us now is Chandelle Summer. She's a criminal defense attorney and radio host. Thank you for joining us tonight. So Trump was under no obligation to testify since it's his own defense case. How does Trump not testifying help or hurt him here?
I think it probably helps him to not testify. I don't know that he could add anything to what has already occurred. He's had an expert witness talk about his valuations being sound, and the Attorney General has also had an expert witness who testified as to the amount that the banks were out as a result of the systematic fraud that Trump engaged in, according to the judge at least.
Now, closing arguments in Trump's civil case are not expected until after the new year, after which the judge overseeing the case will make the ruling. What type of timeline in 2024 are you expecting a ruling from the judge, and how might Trump being on the campaign trail factor into a decision?
Well, I think his opponents will probably use whatever the outcome of this trial is against him. As far as how long it will take the judge to determine what he's going to do, I'm not sure. It's probably not going to take him very long, since he's already ruled on a motion for summary judgment that was made by the Attorney General's office, finding Trump had engaged in a pattern of systematic fraud in his valuations and his statements of financial condition. But the idea here is that the Attorney General is seeking $250 million in damages for what's known as disgorgement, which means taking back from the person who was a wrongdoer whatever profit they might have made off of their bad acts. So the Attorney General has at one time said it was $250 million. Her expert witness testified it was only $168 million. And it's a question of whether or not you believe that the banks might have negotiated with Trump over the rates of interest that they were charging him, and whether or not we are now putting businesses in a position of letting the government determine what interest rates the banks are going to set. To me, it's a very shaky legal theory, and one which flies in the face of capitalism in the United States.
And now, as you mentioned, New York Attorney General Letitia James has alleged that Trump inflated his net worth by as much as $3.6 billion for more than a decade. The AG requested, as you said, Trump be fined as much as $250 million. In the end, all said and done, what type of punishment or fine are you anticipating, if any, for the former president?
Well, I think if the judge determines that disgorgement should take place, then he's probably going to find that at least $168 million has been wrongfully received by the Trump organization by misstating the values of their property, because the judge has already ruled that banks lend based on risk, and that if Trump had honestly valued his properties, that they would have charged a higher interest rate. I think that's a very slippery idea, because of the fact that I think if Trump's organization had not gotten the interest rate they wanted from the bank they were dealing with, there were other banks that they could negotiate with. So determining what the interest rate would have been, to me, is a slippery slope. However, I do expect this judge has indicated he is likely to find that Trump has engaged in this pattern of fraudulent behavior. There's also 6 more counts that the court can find against Trump on. So when he does that, I would expect that unless the defense puts up some position as to how much it should be, that he'll go with what the Attorney General has proposed.
We still have a lot of questions left to answer here. Chandelle Summer, criminal defense attorney and radio host, thank you so much for your time.
Good to see you, Alexa.